Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you, and welcome to Islam and Life with me, Tariq Ramadan, broadcasting from London. Today's show discusses Birmingham riots, England and Islam. Last week there were clashes in Birmingham, a major city in England.
Islam means surrender to God. But some people prefer not to surrender at all. These are supporters of the English Defence League, a far-right movement in the UK. They want to defend England against Islamic extremism. Seems fair enough. But when opinions are passionate on both sides, it turns ugly.
So what is happening in the UK, what is happening in Birmingham, riots against the Muslim demonstrations, saying that we are against extremism, we are against Islamism, and at the same time it's really targeting the Muslims. And we have seen this all over Europe. Around Europe you have manifestation of this kind of manifestation and demonstrations against Muslims, against the headscarf, or against violence, or against mosques to be built, for example, in Germany, and exactly the same in Denmark. So around Europe the same situation. So when we come back to the UK, we have to ask ourselves, what is wrong? What is happening in this country which is problematic, and especially for some of these groups that are now saying that we are against Islamization of Europe, Islamification of Europe, we are against the Muslim presence. At the same time, we don't know if it's against Islam or if it's against extremists or violent extremists around Europe. So let us come to this specific question and try to understand what is happening today. To discuss this subject, I'm joined in the studio by filmmaker Sukan Chandan of Sons of Malcolm. On the phone I shall be speaking to Tommy Robinson from the English Defence League. For security reasons he doesn't want to be recognized. I'm also joined on the phone by Councillor Bob Bailey, who is the London organizer for British National Party. So thank you for being with us. I want to start with you, Jeremy. We just saw the clip with some of the pictures of what's happening. Tommy, what's happening in Birmingham. I want just to ask you, what was happening? Why were you demonstrating in Birmingham?
We were demonstrating in Birmingham because, first of all, on the 6th of June, an Islamic group called Islam for UK, which is a group which consists of Islamic extremists, fundamentalists, who wish to overthrow the British government. They hate everything. They hate everyone who's non-Muslim. They held a demonstration in the city. It was on the 6th of June. They had a big banner that was 10 foot wide by 3 foot high that read Jesus was a Muslim. Now, in itself, we believe that that is a crime, inciting religious hatred. The same way that if we come into city centres with signs that said Allah was a Jew or Allah was a Christian, we'd expect to be arrested, and rightly so, for inciting religious hatred. Yet the rule of law isn't implemented equally across both communities, we feel, because he wasn't arrested. And then not only were they there, but they then converted an 11-year-old child who was shopping in the city centre that day, and 11 years old, being under the age of criminality, so in other words he doesn't know what he's doing. They got him up on stage and they converted him to a Muslim, and it's not like a bunch of moderate Muslims converted.
So this is what you are saying. You are saying it's not really against the Muslims, but still when you listen to what you are saying and which way we are talking about Islam, it's as if there is a problem with Islam, with the Muslim presence in Birmingham or even in the UK.
No, there's not a problem with the Muslim presence. The problem is when we've got Islamic fundamentalists who are jihadists, who are against our country, converting our youth and our children who are 11 years old without their parents say so. Let's reverse the roles and let's pretend we've got 100 Christian extremists who then convert an 11-year-old Muslim child without his parents say so when he's walking through a city centre. What would the outcome be there throughout the whole Muslim Islamic world? There would be outcry. Look what happened over the Danish cartoons. Imagine there would be fires, riots in every city over it. And our point is, what's good for us, what's good for you has to be good for us. We cannot allow Islamic fundamentalists, and we waited to see what the moderate Muslims done, or what Salma Yaqub done, or what the Muslim Council of Britain done, what they said about what happened to this kid. And no one said nothing.
Tommy, let me just come to Sukan, who is here with me in the studio, just to respond to what you are saying about this situation and in which way you are portraying the whole issue, which is now you are targeting Muslim fundamentalists and they are not respecting, in fact, the British identity and the British society. What is your point on that?
First of all, I think it's a shame that both the EDL and BNP didn't show their pretty faces in the studio today, such as the confidence with which they execute their political activities. Frankly, I don't think it's really an argument even worth engaging with what we've just heard. I mean, if it's a concern of anyone in our communities of what's going on in other faith groups, there's all kinds of constructive, positive ways to address this. But frankly, what we're seeing with this resurgence and re-emergence of the far-right physical street presence is something which ethnic minority communities and progressive white people and anti-racists got rid of by the late 80s. Now, this has always been a strategy of the BNP leadership, and Nick Griffin has on record on 2 occasions in print stated that he would like a rise of a far-right militant political group alongside a physical street presence. So the rise of things like the EDL and the Casuals United, etc., is exactly in line with the strategy of Nick Griffin. But, just the last thing to say, but we've gone through the 60s and 70s and 80s. Ethnic minority communities have fought and have won their right to stay here with their belief systems, with their political views about England and the world. That fight has been won. And we can see in the last few provocations, street provocations, by the far right, that they've been, their bravado has been dented, and ethnic minority communities are never going to stand for what happened in the 60s.
Okay, a very quick response on this. Do they have the right to demonstrate? Do they have the right to go on this street demonstration? Is this right? You accept this to happen or not?
As anti-fascists and anti-racists in this country who believe in the unity of all working class people, no, they absolutely do not have a right. And we will not only state that they have no right to pass, no passerand, but they have no right to stand. And that's what we've been implementing the last few occasions with them.
Okay, Bob, I want to listen to you because you are a London organizer for the British National Party. I want to know what is your take on this, because you distanced yourself from the British Defence League.
Right. Well, I would say, first of all, that, the chap that you have just put on, I mean, he uses a lot of rhetoric, and so that rhetoric is designed to stir up trouble and hatred against particular groups. I mean, the government, and this includes the Labour Party, the Liberals and the Conservatives, are interested in dividing people because that is when they are weak. I've lived in many Muslim countries, I've visited many Muslim countries, and we understand that the majority of Muslims are peaceful. But at the same time, we will not stand by and have our country, our traditions and history rubbished by extremist fundamentalists. They will be challenged at every step by the British National Party.
But can you be clear on that? Who are you talking about? Because it's very general. Who are these people you are talking about? Because the great majority of the British Muslims abide by the law.
Right. Well, I think you will find it wasn't so long ago that these extremist Muslims, these fundamentalists, took their explosives onto the London Underground, they blew up trains, they blew up buses, and they killed a lot of people of all races and colours. Now, the British people have been tolerant so far, but we cannot tolerate this anymore, especially when our troops are used in the streets. Now, the British National Party is against the war in Afghanistan, it is against the war in Iraq. We believe in self-determination for all people. This is not just for the white indigenous people of this country. But at the same time, we will not stand by and watch Sharia law be introduced into this country.
Once again, who are these people you are talking about? Because if you listen to the Muslim organizations around the UK, they are not calling for implementing Sharia. They are just abiding by the law. They are now there is this second generation, third generation, fourth generation of Muslims. They are British. They speak English as you speak English, and they are abiding by the law, and they are peaceful people.
Right,
who are you talking about?
Right, we have